Hello everybody, Walters954 here, coming at you guys with the 5th Python tutorial, probably one of the most important ones. This is the for loops. So from everything comes for loops. First most would probably be if statements. So let's jump into it. If you're from the Java world, you should know at least this not even enhanced for loop. This one just is you have for the initializer of what you want to start out with, where you want to stop, and then how you want to increment and do whatever code you want in here. So same premise in Python, I guess. So just a side note, if you didn't know, at least in PyCharm you can press Control and / and it will comment or decomment, so that's pretty nice. So the same thing here, we're just trying to pretty much replicate it. So we have our for x, which is the variable that we're going to be using. We don't even have to use it down here, but we are going to be using for these examples, and the range. So this range 10 function is basically all of this put into one. So it's going to go from 0 to 10 and do the iteration by 1. So let's go ahead and run this just to show you guys. And say you're thinking, okay, what if I wanted to go by 2s? Oh, whoops, wrong way. So you're gonna have to do 0, whatever you start by. These are parameters that you're putting in here, and we want to only increment by 2, stopping before we get to 10. 12. 10 should be in there. So that's how you can do different iterations through just doing different incrementations for Python, pretty much. And we all know Python's weird, so you can do things with strings. Make sure to comment this out. You can do things with strings, so if we run this, it'll actually print out each individual letter for the string. And it's got the space in there too. Don't forget about that. So that's pretty neat. You wouldn't have to do like set this to an array and then iterate through the array, which is very nice. Next up on the chopping block, we have a little bit more advanced. This one is going to sort this array, which we've seen before. It's the same one from the last tutorial. For each of them, it's going to go through them and do a condition here. Now this condition is using the modulus function. The modulus function, if you've never seen it before, you can use it, and it's basically the remainder of a division. So if you do 2 divided by 2, there will be no remainder, so you'll get a 0. Actually, any even number divided by 2 will get 0 as a remainder. So that's kind of the premise that we're going off here to actually get this to work. So if you do 3 divided by 2, you'll get like 0.5 as a remainder. So it will not fall into this, and it is not an even number. So that's the first piece here with the modulus 2. Then we have the print statement. Now the reason we have this strx is because this x is being seen as an integer coming all the way from up here. These are integers being passed into this list, and this list is now taking each individual x and passing it through and running through this code here. So when we try to print this out with a string, it throws an error. It's like, hey, whoa, we're trying to make everything the same. Why are you doing that? So let's actually run this to see the error. Unsupported operand types int string. It's just saying that these don't really match up. So if you put str, and I think we covered this before, but I'm just going over it again. If you put str, it will cast this to a string. It'll just say, whatever this is, we're going to put it into a string, because we don't care what it is. We're just going to make it a string. And then this continue is a command only for loops, I guess you could say. I'm pretty sure I've only seen it in loops. This just says, alright, if we reach this, we're going to go straight back up to the top. Don't run anything afterwards, which can be really convenient at certain times. I don't actually use it that much. Further along, you'll see the break, and that I use a little bit more. But if we don't get to this if statement, we're going to print out we got 'em boys, as in that should be the odd number left, because it would skip over. If it gets to this, then it is an even number and it shoots it back up to the top. So let's go ahead and run this, see what we have here. So 0 is an even number. That's just because 0 divided by 2 also has no remainder, so it thinks that it's one of those numbers. It thinks that it's an even number. But for all the ones in here, you know, it runs through it. It says 1 divided by 2, there's a remainder, so we're not going to do any of this. We're just going to say we got them. All the 2's are even numbers, so you can see here that it hits the continue statement, goes all the way back up to the top, instead of running we got 'em boys and a 2 here. 3 is the same thing, 4 is so on and so forth, all the way up to 76. So to better demonstrate this, and I guess I'll leave that there too. So I'm going to actually run this again using the range function, and we're just setting this range 1 to 15 into, sorry, put a breakpoint, into list 1. So this list object is holding this variable first, and this list 1 object then gets sorted, and then we're actually rewriting the entire list, so whatever was in it, and we're just setting it equal to it. We're not appending, we're not doing anything else with this. These are basically gone. Don't even think about them. They just get set. This list 1 just gets set to this new value of the range, and then we're going to run through this range again here. So for 1, it doesn't execute this, so it goes ahead and prints we got them. For 2, it's an even number, so hits a continue, it goes back up, and so on. So yeah, that's just a little thing you can play with the for loops here, just to see different things. And then just kind of like a little bit crazier looking one, these are actually a collection, which is kind of like different objects inside of a list, you can kind of call it. It's just Python just holding weird values. So it's one list with integers and strings, and then another one with a bunch of strings at the end. So what it's going to do here is it's going to loop through this list of lists, which is a collection, and for each list that it gets back, it's also going to go through each individual item in this list. So it's going to go through this one, set it to this list, and we're going to get the first value. And then we're just going to say, alright, if x is equal to 999, which is all the way here at the end, we're going to break out, which means stop completely, go all the way to, it's pretty much the next statement outside of this entire loop. So if we had something out here, which I should probably put something, we are free here. Alright, so let me run this to show you guys what's going on here. So it's going to run through 1, 2, 3, which is the first list, no problem. So it says, alright, for each x, it's going to check here, x isn't 99. So we're basically saying once we get to 99, we don't want to do this anymore. Print x for each one. So 1, 2, 3, hey, we're also printing out. 4, 5, hey, we're also printing out here again. And so we get to 7 and 8 in the last set here. And it doesn't print out 999 because this hits the if statement, this turns to true, and we break out of this and we'll say, alright, we found what we're looking for, we don't want to execute this anymore because this could go on like forever. It does not have to stop here. This could go on forever, but we found the value that we are looking for, so it goes out of this list and enters into whatever goes after it. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a description in the comments below, or I'll leave a description in the sidebar below. I'm gonna need to figure out how that works. Yeah, so there's gonna be a few more videos coming from Coding Bat. Finish some of those up, and thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe.